Oops. There we go. Sorry about that. There is uh there we go. All right. There we go. Okay. So, yeah, there is when it comes to audio, um there is this thing required for condenser microphones called phantom power. And I am notorious for forgetting to hit the phantom power button on the interface. So, good thing you guys told me about that sooner, because I'm not sure I would have caught it anytime soon. Let's see. Michael D8393, Joe Hervey 84, the legendary Dave R's Guitars are with us this morning. Matt Ruzek. Let's see. Who do I leave out? Christopher Spearin. And looks like that's about it so far. So, yeah, this has been a pretty busy and exciting last couple of weeks. I'm sorry I wasn't able to hang out with you guys last week. However, between my battle with AT&T and regarding my Wi-Fi service, that of course turned out to be something stupid, but we between that and between a few other things that I have had going on, specifically the recent video that went up here probably about a week and a half or so ago now. There is it was called the 13 great guitars that you might not know about. For those of you that watched that video, thank you very, very much. That was the first time I finally had a video trigger the YouTube algorithm in close to a year, and my channel was kind of really starting to feel the effects of it. But that was a really, really big boost, and I'm very, very grateful for all of you that took the time out to watch that video. So, and I had a lot of fun making it too. So, and I got to relive, a classic joke that, hey, Robert Ainsworth, thank you, brother, says money for a mic check 1 2 1 mic check 1 mic check 1 check 2 is what he says. Money for a mic check 1 check 2. Anyway, so, I got a lot of really, really good feedback on that video. I hadn't done a top 10, 12, 13, whatever video in a while. So, that was, it was a lot of fun. And, it's kind of a lot of fun to, bring in some attract some new viewers and some new subscribers, and even see a couple of them here on the comment thread with us this afternoon. Edgardo Perales is new here. Welcome to you. Russ Keeney's finally gotten to catch us on the live stream. So, Joe Hervey says I might go to GC on Monday. Attaboy. Always never a bad excuse to buy new gear, right? Oh, boy. Let's see here. I see a couple of questions have been fired off already. Let's see. There's one. Garda Perales says, morning, Robert. Love all your video. Ed from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. Joe Hervey 84 says, Robert, any new gear? Well, as a guy that funds his own channel for his own gear demos, I oftentimes have new gear coming in. Probably what you're going to see next is this. And I've got, actually, as soon as we're done here today, I've got to finish Matter of fact, I haven't even finished recording that video yet because there's a yeah, there's just a lot that's going into it, and and I'm gonna get into that here in a little bit. So, let's see. Let's see here. Matt Maruzek says, "What's the most money you spent on a guitar?" Oh boy. Honestly, it was probably my Music Man Majesty. I've never really spent a ton of money on a guitar. I've been fortunate. I've had some pretty cool guitars that have come my way for some ridiculous prices. When you work in the EMI business for a living, that's kind of one of the perks. But the most that I have ever paid for a guitar was probably my Majesty, and I think I saved my money for a long time, $20 a week for about a year and a half to buy that Majesty, and paid about $16 for it. Plus, and then of course there was tax and shipping on it. But I got it pretty cheap, honestly. That was the cheapest I had seen one. Every other one that I had seen, particularly in the gold mine finish, which is pretty gold mine, you don't see that one very often. So all those have been $1,800, $2,000 on the used market. So I got pretty lucky. So I did that. Let's see. I got the Zakk Wylde Vertigo on a trade of sorts. Let's see. I got a ridiculous deal on the Hamer. Some of the more, the other, my SG. My SG was a gift from my mother for my 30th birthday. So, God, I've had that guitar 11 years now. So, yeah. So, I try not to spend too much. Let's see. Dwight Bailey's with us. Welcome, Dwight. Let's see. Okay, Christopher Spearin. Okay. Russ Keeney says, "Too bad Dayton GC blows." Michael D says, Michael D says he has a Fender HM Strat on reserve. Those are cool. Pretty cool when those pop up on the market from time to time. Yeah, I know. Dave's got some expensive stuff, so. Russ has spent $3,500 on an Alembic bass. Yeah, I've seen those go for at least that much. Most I've spent on a guitar though so far is $1,000 for my Gibson Firebird. My dad put the remaining. Yep. Whew. Joe Harvey says, "I need a P90 guitar." And I have pondered the same thing myself, and I am actually taking, because I don't have a guitar with P90s in it. I am, if I do buy one, I am very, very serious. I'm taking a pretty hard look at the Yamaha Revstars. Those guitars are fantastic, and they got a couple of P90 models, I believe, that are out now. And, of course, across a couple of different price points as well. So, we should get one. Well, yeah, we should. Actually, I think I've got there's a Schecter that I've got my eye on right now that I'm probably going to come home with next. But That's not gonna be for probably another couple. Yeah, probably I don't know. Probably not for another couple of months. And and I've got my I've got the Vester concert listed for sale, and if it goes, and I still haven't fully decided whether or not I want to sell it or just hang on to it, be patient, save up a little more money, and then buy the Schecter outright. But if I sell the Vester, they'll certainly help me acquire it faster. Though I generally don't like to do that, but at the same time, I don't really play the Vester all that much, so I don't know. I haven't decided. Still got some things to consider. Gibson Les Paul tribute double cut. Yep, those are Gibson has definitely turned it around. I actually met with the Gibson rep the other day, and it was pretty refreshing to to hear him say that they got rid of all the all the bullshit on the guitars that nobody wanted, like circuit boards and robot tuners and all that kind of stuff. So check it, Robert. Check out Harley Benton P90 Tel. I'm assuming it means Telly. I'm not a Telly guy, man. Harley Benton's making some great stuff right now, but if I got anything from them, it'd probably be a Les Paul model or something. But I'm not a Telly guy. Michael D says, "Hang on to the Vester." Okay, well, I don't know. I am considering that, actually, because as soon as I put that video up, a lot of people commented on the Vesters, and a couple people even mentioned that all of a sudden they're rising in value. So, all of a sudden nobody's ever heard of them, and now all of a sudden people are starting to hear about them. So I don't know. I may end up hanging on to it. Hey, Janice Lawler has joined us. She says my GNL Tribute Fallout is in transit. Congratulations. What is the GNL Tribute Fallout? What is that? Let's do one of these there Google searches. GNL Tribute Fallout. Oh, it's an offset. Okay. In the 4 offset guitar in the 4 to 450 range. All right. Let's go to P90s probably. Yep. They can't call them P90s, I'm sure, but it looks like it's got a soap bar P90-ish pickup in the neck and a hung buggy in the bridge. So, cool guitar. If it's GNL, it's probably made right. GNL are fantastic instruments. Michael D says, I'm thrilled the Robotuners are gone. My one Les Paul came with them. I thought they were cool at first, and I couldn't figure out how to restring them, so I put a set of Grovers on the Les Paul. I don't think that you are even remotely close to the only person that did that. I think even the stores there for a while, they had a directive to take, when they were the, what do they call them? With the G-Force, I think is what it was. It was that apparatus thing on the back of the headstocks that they were putting on them. Where it was all one unit. Like, the stores that still had Gibsons with those on it were actually instructed by Gibson to pull all of those off, send them back to Gibson, and replace them with Grover tuners. So that was what they did. Hey, Rockin' Dave Byron's joined us here this morning, this afternoon. I guess it's afternoon where you are, your part of the world. Yes, I have a fair amount of video editing to do this seat. I got a busy day, man. I got it, after, of course, hanging out with you guys, which I always enjoy. Then I got to go get my camera, and actually, then I'm sure, my dog is gonna need some of my attention at that point if she doesn't before then. Then I got to go get my camera and get set back up and finish recording this track demo that I am working on for the Mooer Radar, in which I still have to write a solo for. or at least come up with something. And more on that here in a bit. You know, and then I got to edit that video, and then I got to upload it. And you know, anybody who does YouTube, by the way, is probably already aware that uploading a video is not so simple as hitting upload. You know, because you have to hit upload, then you have to put, you know, you have to come up with, you got to make sure the title is, you know, is going to, you know, it looks attractive. Then you got to create the thumbnail, and then you got to make sure that all the right information is in the description. Then you got to add the tags, and then you got to add the translations, and then make sure monetization's right, and you know, among other things. So, you know, uploading a video to YouTube is not a you know, is not a very simple process. Let's see. Robert Ainsworth says a John 5 Telecaster would be cool. That they would be. They are cool, actually. They're really cool. I like the John 5 Tellies. You know, those things kind of look like a motorcycle to me. Particularly the, you know, when they came out with the first version of his signature model, and they had the 3x3 headstocks. Those were pretty cool. Those were really cool, actually. But I don't know that I've ever seen one in person. And if I ever do, I'm sure it's going to be expensive. Let's see. Michael D says, I've had my eye on the G&L Jerry Cantrell Rampage since I was 16. Also great guitars. Jerry Cantrell is one of my favorite guitar players. I love Jerry Cantrell. Marcus D is with us. Good morning / afternoon, sir. Says, play the new Tele acoustic, which I'm assuming you're referring to the Fender Acoustasonic Tele. Want one? Will never own one. A bit expensive for me. Yeah, well, $2,000 for. I don't. Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people that think it's really, really cool and really, really want one, and I've talked to a lot of people who think it's the dumbest idea ever. Furthermore, you know, I've talked to a few people, a couple people who've actually gone so far as to order them, and you know, and have gotten. I think one guy's had to exchange it 2 or 3 times already. So now I don't. You know, due to various QC issues, I think, but I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. But that's been a hot item and a hot topic since it was first announced at NAMM this year. Fretless ebonite fretboard need replacing. Russ Keeney says, have an 80s Kramer fretless with ebonite fretboard. It needs replacing. Any suggestions who can do it? If the fretboard needs replacing? Ooh. I would probably. You know, if it were local here in the Indianapolis area, I would probably recommend. I would probably recommend Greg Hall, who's a master, fantastic luthier. But you know, you're going to wait on. You know, for something like that, you're probably going to wait on it for a while anyway. Just because the people that are actually skilled enough to be able to do that kind of work are generally very busy. So, which is what you want when you're looking for a good tech and a good luthier. Yeah, you know, locally in your area, I would, you know, in your area, ask around, you know, check your local shops, you know, those guys will know who to refer you to. Probably the best advice that I can give. Robert, Joe Hervey says, Robert, you talked to the Tone King. You know, I think I've had a brief exchange with on Facebook, and you know, year and a half or so ago, maybe. You know, at that time, my channel was, my channel was just beginning to take off on me, And all of a sudden, when that happens, if you ever decide to jump in and get into YouTube, when that happens, as my good friend Alan Barnes of Geargasms has just recently discovered, when you have a video blow up, that's when all the trolls come out. And I had never dealt with that before, so I had reached out to him and to ask some advice and opinions on how to deal with some of that stuff. And basically what he ended up telling me was that he doesn't even deal with it. He just blocks those people immediately. And sometimes I do that, and sometimes I troll back, but it doesn't. It's not. I've learned how to handle a little bit more then. But he, in that same conversation, he said, "What's your channel? I'd love to check it out." So I shared it with him, and I never heard anything back from him again. So I don't know. I guess that means either he hated it or I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Editing. Dave Byron, Rockin' Dave Byron said, "Editing is so new to me and such a pain in the ass." When you first start out with editing, and I actually started out with Windows Movie Maker because I knew absolutely nothing about filming or creating video, much less editing it. Nothing. And Windows Movie Maker, not only is it free, at least if you have a PC, and not only is it free, but it is insanely simple to use. And I used that for probably the first 6 or 8 months that I was on YouTube. And it's a very, very basic video editor. It's not gonna do anything crazy, but it did. The one thing that it did do though was teach me the basics. Of how to actually operate, a little bit more robust, how to navigate a more robust operating software. And so when I made the jump to Vegas, and I did a smaller version of Vegas, I went first. I was using Movie Studio Platinum 13, and I used that for a year and a half or so. Vegas made a lot more sense to me after using Windows Movie Maker for a while. It made a lot more sense to me. And then there were some things that that I didn't know how to do, and even now still I have to go and Google something or look something up on YouTube about how to do something, but the more you use it, it's just like playing guitar. The more you use it, the more the more comfortable you get with it, and the more you learn how things work and where things are located. The Vegas programs, whether you go with the smaller, I'm using Movie Studio Platinum 15 now. So whether you go with a smaller version like that or you go with a full version, the full Vegas version, Vegas is actually pretty user friendly. I haven't. I know Glenn Fricker just put up a video the other day about DaVinci Resolve, which DaVinci Resolve is free. I think you can download that one for free. Now if the full size version, full size DaVinci, that's what they use in Hollywood, and that thing costs thousands. But if you download the free version, which actually has it's pretty comparable to a lot of the other stuff out there. But the problem with it is it is extremely powerful, and it requires a very, very low or a very powerful CPU to run it efficiently. I tried it once, and my old computer, it couldn't handle it, so I got away from it. But Vegas turned out to be a good fit for me. Joe Hervey said, "I'd love to see you do more interviews and live streams." I've got a couple of video ideas here in the back of my head that I am planning that are going to involve going out on the scene, if you will. Not necessarily the music scene, but out on location, I guess would be a better description. So, But Dave, one final thought. Just stick with it. stick with it, and it will. You'll get better at it. It'll get easier to you, and probably sooner rather than later. So. Christopher Spearin says Jerry Cantrell wrote some of my favorite tunes. I stay playing Alice in Chains. Yep, me too. And Jerry Cantrell was actually, he's a genius guitar player because he's one of those guys. He can absolutely shred with the best of them. He's very capable of it, but he's also smart enough to know that he doesn't need to. And he he's not necessarily about chops, but his riffs and his rhythms and songwriting are also brilliant. But so many times, more often than not, it seems his solos are. They're just so tastefully written, and they fit the song that they're going into perfectly. So, he's, like I said, he's a brilliant guitar player. Russ Keeney. Okay, back to Russ Keeney's fretboard question. So he's got the aluminum neck, Kramer from the '80s. Yeah, like I said, my best advice there. Just ask some people there in your local community. So, I don't know what area you're in, but really deep grooves. Okay. Pulled out the electric standard, and okay, you got it chatting amongst yourselves. Use Final Cut Pro to edit a trip to Cooperstown. Yeah, Final Cut Pro is a good one. I know that's a lot of creators use Final Cut Pro. I've never used it, but I know that one's fairly popular. Yep. Rockin' Dave Byron says, yeah, Robert, Windows Movie Maker is now on Windows 10, so that's what I'm using. It's all a learning curve. Thanks for all your input, bro. It really helps. Yeah, and like I said, my advice: stick with it stick with Movie Maker for a couple, for a few months until you get the hang of it, and and you will. The good thing about Movie Maker, it's all in a row. So as long as you're using one camera, you don't have multiple camera angles or anything like that. You should be. You should be. You'll get the hang of it, like I said, sooner rather than later. DaVinci's Pro consumer version is $200, but I'm using the free version because it does everything I need an editor to do. Yeah. Even the free version is pretty robust, and I think that they've got like 4 different versions. DaVinci does. They've got the free version, the consumer version, as you mentioned, is a couple $100, but then the full Pro version is, last time I looked at that, I remember, I think it was, I want to say they sold it for like $6,000 or something like that, and I would hope for that price it would include one of the Blackmagic video cameras. DaVinci's owned by Blackmagic, so I would assume I would hope it would come with one of those hot new Fandango Blackmagic video cameras that are like the most awesome cameras ever. I'd love to have one of those, but I'm just a poor musician trying to keep a roof over his head. And Rockin' Dave says, when it comes to writing originals, it's really all trial and error. You just got to stick to it. Everybody is going to like what you do, but there is something for everyone. Perfect opportunity for a segue. Thank you, Dave. Here is what I have learned in the last few weeks. And it is very. This is kind of a big deal for me because I've talked before. I hate writing music. It's never been. I've always been a cover band guy, and I've always enjoyed learning the rock songs, and that's just kind of where I fell into. And there's nothing wrong with that. I've written a couple of songs here over the years, but the entire creative process, particularly with another band, with 3 or 4 other band members in the room, is something that makes me want to claw my eyes out. And so, with YouTube's recent crackdown on what has been referred to as Adpocalypse 2019. In other words, they have the copyright claims have been going up everywhere. A lot of people have been getting hit with copyright claims for all kinds of ridiculous reasons, myself included. Anyway, but because of that, I have kind of been forced to start writing my own stuff. And, not unfortunately, but, I discovered that, it was actually kind of pushed me over the edge. I have not written a guitar solo in a long, long, long time. And it was actually very, very refreshing for me to do so. And for those of you that watched the video that went up last week on the Digitech cab driver, the track demo in that video was the finished product. Well, it's not it was the finished product for that video anyway. So I know the mix on it probably kind of sucked because I still don't know anything about mixing, but I'll get there. But it was the actual writing process. I think overall it sounded pretty good, and like Dave just mentioned, you're not going to please everybody, and that's not what the goal was, for that. The goal was for just come up with something simple, lead, rhythm, guitar, drums and bass, simply to demo a pedal in this instance, but but I ended up getting a lot more than that out of it. And I think what I'm going to do, once I go through that process another, 8, 9, 10 times, and I've got a collection of 10 or 12 songs, I'm going to go back and, kind of then complete them, make them into full-length songs and, get some people to sing and retrack bass and may turn into my first album, if you will. So, I don't know. It was something I have never, ever considered. And, all of a sudden now, now that I've got this whole new set of recording tools here in front of me, especially, like I said, it's something I've never really never considered at all. And now all of a sudden I'm considering it. So, I admit to resisting change, vehemently. I don't like change, so I have I've resisted it for a long time. But now that I was forced to actually do something with it, as a lot of people probably would have assumed would be the case, it kind of opened up a whole new set of doors for me, and it's pretty exciting for me. So if you guys haven't, here, I'll tell you what, let me go get the link real quick, and I'll post it here in the chat for you guys, and then you guys can go check out the video. Let me go there. If you haven't seen it already, anyway. So, the video doesn't have a freaking end screen on it. Oh. Guess it doesn't. Alright, well, here, let's do some quick editing while I'm here in the inner tubes, YouTubes, if you will. All right, so go there. So there is the link down there in the chat now for those of you that might want to go check it out. If you do check it out, I would be very grateful if you did. And if you don't, feedback is even more welcome as well, both in the mix and the writing and all that kind of stuff. I know playing was a little sloppy, but that's okay. Regardless, like I said, I would certainly enjoy hearing any feedback that any of you might have to share. Let's see. Filmora, you guys are still talking about video editors. I have not used Filmora. Heard a lot about it, but I've not used it. Orland is with us. Good morning, Orland. Well, I guess it's probably well into the afternoon, if not the evening, over there in your part of the world. Orland, you guys got to check out his channel. He does some pretty good demos. If you do not, if you speak only English like I do, then you might need to use the captions. But he does provide a lot of great information. He did a demo on an Ibanez guitar that I had my eye on here a while back, and basically talked to me, basically kept me from, making a bad buying decision. So, very honest guy. Russ Keeney says, I started on Real Tape, try editing with a razor. That would make me want to claw my eyes. There was no way I would have ever gotten into this if people were still editing with razor blades. No way. Janice Lawless says, I have at least 3 albums worth of originals. I don't, I'll be honest. I mean, this is kind of a lofty goal, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to do it. That's 3 albums, even 1 album for me. And if I do get it completed, it's number one, it's not going to happen for a while. And, number 2, there's a lot of work that's got to go into it. So, I don't know. We'll see. It's at this point, it's just kind of something I'm kicking around, but, Joe Hervey says, I'm working on my lead playing more, using a few scales to connect notes. I got to dial in a good high gain neck pickup tone. Here is my suggestion for a really, really good lead guitar tone. Turn the gain down. And seriously, turn the gain way down and turn the boost up. Because what you're going to find is when you do that, you're going to be able to hear the individual notes of your guitar solo a lot clearer, a lot more clearly than you would otherwise. Try that, and I bet you'll be surprised. I've been teaching myself for months now to get into the habit of turning the gain down, and I really, really like the way that it sounds. So, be it a metal, like a metal type of distortion, or a rock Marshall type of distortion, I'm finding myself playing with less gain because more gain just adds mud, and and there's certainly a place for that. I love gain, but I find myself evolving as a guitar player by turning it down. Michael D says, I've written 3 solos as of now. The first is very slow melodic. The second is a fast Slayer-esque one. And the third is a sweet-picked one similar to Marty Friedman's Tornado Souls solo. I don't know that I'm ever going to get anything that crazy. But, because I can't sweep, and that's a technique that, I've tried, several times, and I just can't. I can't do it. So, You Oilhead, you start speaking English in your videos now? Okay, ignore everything that I said about language. Just go check out his channel, and all will be right with the world. Let's see. Writing music is something Dave R's Guitar says, writing music is something I just really struggle with. The ideas just don't come out. And I'm the same way. I am like the least creative guitar player on this planet. And I guess that's probably another reason why I fell into playing in cover bands so comfortably for so long. And for the record, if I had the time for it, I'd go out and play in a cover band in an instant. So, but I found, every now and again I will get like this riff in my head, or this guitar riff in my head, and it happened the other night, and I decided this could be something that I could use for a video. So I sat down here at my computer and I grabbed that guitar that you can't see, this guitar, grabbed my handy dandy trusty Charvel, and in the process, I sat down and I found the notes that were in my head. I found them on the fretboard and hit the record button on Pro Tools so that I had a record of it, because I knew I was going to forget it 20 minutes after putting that guitar down. Got the idea out, and and then just left it. And then of course I sat down and came back to it the next day, and now I've got to finish it. But and I have to finish it, otherwise there's going to be a day without a video next week. But I found, once you get that, that thing in your head, once you get that down, then you can, provided that you have, even just a very basic knowledge of music theory, staying in the same key, is as basic as I'm talking about. It actually, the building around that initial idea actually comes very, very easily. And it's once once you turn on the spigot, eventually the water starts flowing, is kind of the way that I think about it. Janice Lawla says, yes, I did see that video this morning and was really impressed with it. Are you referring to my video that I posted the link to above? If you are, thank you very, very much. Let's see. Dave's our guitars. I've got Dave moderating for me in the chat. Looks like he's already blocked he's blocked a thing or two for me already. Thank you, Dave. GRG 121DX. Ibanez GRG 121DX. They're good entry level metal guitars. Anyone see one? I've seen a lot of the Ibanez GRG or the Geo guitars. Depending on I think depending on the era. They're, I don't know, man. They're for entry level. I mean, they're $200 guitars or sub $200 guitars. For that purpose, for the purpose of a beginner learning, they're okay. They get the job done. But I'd leave bloodstains all over the editing room in those days. Feel like the music I wrote when I was truly inspired was never well received, so I can't imagine anything new I would do would ever get anywhere. Well, and I think it's one of those things that I gotta get caught up here. Let me reread this comment here. Matt Maruzek says, I feel like the music I wrote when I was truly inspired was never well received, so I can't imagine anything new I would do would ever get anywhere. And I get that. It's some of the national acts that we follow that the big bands that inspired so many of us. Absolutely, some of that stuff was written specifically with dollar signs in mind, and there's no question about it. But there's also a lot of it that was that's particularly in the beginning for a lot of those bands that was written specifically just for the own the writer's enjoyment, and for their, and I can't believe I'm talking like this, but their own ability to to be creative and expressive and all that kind of stuff. So you don't if you don't do it for I guess if I were going to advise on that, and I'm certainly no expert on this, but if I were to offer any recommendation regarding that, and like I said, I get it. I absolutely understand how you feel. But do write what you enjoy. Write what you enjoy, and if it's not well received, who cares? Because that's not why you're doing it. And if it is well received, then of course you do more, and at that point, then now you've got a foundation of what your audience likes from you, and again, you can build around that for the future. But I don't know that anybody writes some people start out writing music. I'm sure Gene Simmons never wrote a song without without a strategy for getting rich behind it in mind. But and there's plenty of those people out there. And there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you're good. But there's also a lot of people that have found a lot of success and a lot of enjoyment out of writing for themselves and for their own for their own enjoyment. So and that's really what this is all about. Is it's just it's supposed to be enjoyable. Let's see. Ruskin, do you have to explain that to the director? I think I'm still back to video editing software. Dave R's Guitar says it's not just about the gain, that's for sure. Let me touch on that. Again, I think I kind of want to show you what I'm talking about with that. At least try to. I don't know if this is going to work or not. But trusty Wazacraft Metal Zone. You guys know how much I love this pedal. Going into a speaker cab simulator of sorts that you guys also I haven't that's the video I got to finish today, so I'm going to keep that somewhat under wraps, even though I did just show you guys the box. And nice thing about the MZ. Yep, I've got this thing plugged straight into my interface. So, yep, loud and distorted. Okay, so you guys can hear. Right now, the gain on the Wazacraft Metal Zone is at about 10 o'clock. That's at about 10 o'clock. Oh, you go over to the neck pickup to more closely resemble what I'm talking about. So, level on about at about noon, 12:30. You know, mids are boosted up pretty high. Lows are kind of turned up. Highs are turned down. Gain at about 10 o'clock, like I said. Let's do that same thing, except put the gain up to about 3 o'clock. This is the custom mode of the water. Not that sounds bad, but hopefully that helps to demonstrate just how much I certainly can hear a lot less clarity when I turn up the gain in that instance. So lead guitar tone is not necessarily about gain. Sometimes it's about clarity. More often than not, I'm discovering. So all those guys back in the 80s, that were using Marshalls. I mean, that's one reason why they were using them, is because those things were really clear and tight and articulate. And you could hear every note. Let's see. Joe Hervey says, Robert, I want to trade for my MXR full bore metal. No, I don't. like not even a little bit. Let's see. I like sweeps on high gain, but I'll try less gain on my neck pickup. I got active pickup, so I got Chapman offers. Oiled says Chapman offers a great contest to win Chapman prototype, and it's very interesting because the challenge is 52 notes maximum, so each note counts. Composition challenge. Huh? Interesting. 52 notes maximum. So solo with no more than 52 notes in it is what you got to construct. Interesting. Okay. That might be something. Huh. I'll have to look into that. That might be fun. I like Rob Chapman. Sing my guitar riffs out loud. You don't ever hear all your notes. That's one of the secrets of fast, clear playing. Absolutely it is. I don't sweep, I vacuum. Transfer. Give me a second. I'm getting caught up in the chat here. Let's see. Transfer. Oh, Janice is taking us to the store with her. That's all. Sound like fun? Mm-hmm. On my phone now, trade the newer Jackson JS7. Let's see. Rick Hunter Wolf is with us. Welcome. Says, my biggest headache was getting my system set up. New DAW interface, all personas, used to my Simple Magic's DAW, Windows 10 version. I'm assuming that was a typo for sucked. That's why they changed. Yeah, it's taken me a while to get everything ironed out, and I don't know that it's still ironed out. I mean, I'm glad to know that you guys can actually hear me playing guitar through the interface, as long as I got something plugged into it. As I tried to do a couple things, essentially streaming audio through Pro Tools, like with virtual amps and stuff, but unfortunately it's Pro Tools isn't set up that way. There's another piece of software that I need, I think, and I don't know, I can't figure that out, or at least I haven't yet. So but this is good to know that OBS will at least do the job here. I saw the Dio tribute show last night with some of the original members. It was freaking awesome. Next man made me confused. Nice. Loud and distorted. Okay, sounding good. Like reminds me of my Evo. Little bromance between the Daves. I'm all for that. Here's some hair. International House of Pancakes. Wow, good to see you live. Thanks. Love your food. Rockin' Dave says, "Hey Robert, that cab driver pedal demo was the best I've seen, and thanks for that info on Tom Cram." Yeah, that was the video that I've kind of been talking about. The one that I just because of the copyright things going on with YouTube, I mean, I kind of felt forced to, push myself whether I like it or not. But regardless, I actually had a lot of fun making that video, and I learned a lot from it. So learned a whole lot from it. Take as many as you've. So. No, I'm not sure that I'd be able to. And now that I'm thinking about it, I can't recall anything that I played in that video, which is kind of funny. But that's all right. I'll go back and watch it again. Pardon me. Your National House Pancake says, "Oh, haha, it's just a nickname for me. I'm a big guy." Hey, so am I. I get that. First person who must be happy about a composition is the composer himself, $ in mind or not. Why? Because if you feel happy about it, it will transmit to others. Well said, Oiled. Very well said. that sound is huge. That is the Metal Zone Wazacraft going into, basically just going into a, impulse response of, essentially it's kind of a, it's called, it's a 412 cabinet German V, so it's a, I'm assuming, I don't know, like probably a diesel 412 vintage 30 cab or something. Some German company. I am assuming. But you're right, it does sound pretty cool. Well, it says, have you heard about the circle of fifths if you get stuck in a composition? No, I have not. I do not know what that is. Hey, Babe Mozzie joined us. Sorry I was late. Have I missed much? Well, we'll see. We've talked about songwriting and writing originals. We've talked about video editing software. We talked a little bit about a guitar or two. And probably a few other things that is not coming to mind here at the moment. So, regardless. And we are also, I have just discovered now, literally 5 minutes ago, that I can plug my Wazacraft Metal Zone and a impulse response directly into my interface, and you guys can now hear the audio, apparently. At least that's what you're telling me. So I've seen a few things here. Michael D said he has been working on some weight loss here. He says, I just limited carbs to once a day. The first 20 pounds are gone over the past month. Yep. Congratulations. I've done the same thing. I need to do it again, obviously. There was, at one point, I went basically no carbs at all. Or as few as I could possibly intake, and did that for about 6 months and lost 75 pounds. But the problem was that I gained it back. So, Dave bought a Helix. I heard a lot of people says the Helix is getting ready to has basically booted all of their pedals, or most of them anyway. So Oilet says it's a diagram about how all the notes are related to each other in a minor or major tonality. It's relating all the degrees. Type in circle of fifths explained on YouTube. Cool. I will check that out, and I'm sure I'll probably learn a thing or two. For the floor, but may settle for an LT. I can't. Man, I can't. I can't bring myself to go the Helix or the Kemper or the the Axe FX route. I just can't. Every single time I've ever gotten into the effects processor thing, it's always been nothing but a giant nightmare, and I can never figure out how to program those things and make them sound good. I can make them sound good at home in my own practice environment, and then I take them to play with a band and everything disappears. So, but I know a lot of people have had a lot of good luck with them, and they make them sound really good. I just want an all-in-one backline, an all-in-one solution for any situation. Park that on the end of your pedal board. Yeah, I know, but I know I should probably try it, but I don't know. I mean, I'm happy with I've got a gazillion different effects pedals, and I've got just about one way or another I can accomplish or achieve just about any amp tone that I could possibly want, and there's not too many of them out there that I would really use. So I don't know, I'm sure I'll sit down and try one day. Maybe I'll convert, but I don't know. Like I said, I like I mentioned earlier, I'm not real big on change. That's the gain almost all the way down on the MT2W. I kind of like that. Bam Mozzie says the problem with the LT though is that it puts it in competition with both the Headrush and GT1000. So I don't know if the Boss may be better. The Boss, unfortunately, I don't think has the cab IRs. I don't think it has the impulse responses in it. So, and that's kind of the big thing I know that set the Helix apart, and even the Headrush apart from the GT1000. So now I think the GT1000 I think is a little cheaper. If you don't need the cab IRs, if you don't need the IRs, then that's might be one to look at. But that is a pretty major feature that the other ones have that the Boss one I don't believe does. So But I do agree with what Russ Keeney just says. It says you can never go wrong with Boss product. I do agree with that. Boss products are fantastic. Says I want everything, including expression pedals, in just one unit that I can use to go straight into a pedal, go straight to a PC or headphones. You know, I mean, the Helix is definitely, I mean, that's definitely one thing that it does. However, I mean, I know of a few people that they actually just use, like bias effects, for software on their on their computer or, I think they're or even on their iPad or something, and then get a Line 6. What do they call those things? The FBV, those the big foot switch things. And control everything in the software with that, because those things are, I believe, MIDI. So, let's see. Bam Ozzy says, I thought Boss added those as part of the aired technology to react like a valve amp. They could have. When they first came out, when the GT1000s first came out about a year ago now, I remember that was the big hang up with those, is they didn't do the IRs that the Helix did. So, but because it was such a big deal, they could have gone back and added a firmware update or something and fixed it. I do remember a firmware update of some kind, though I don't recall what was in it. So, latency is a big problem. Yep, and I suppose a lot of that would also depend on your interface. I mean, I had a huge latency issue going on with my interface that I couldn't track down forever, and finally I figured out it was just a stupid Windows setting. I had a box checked that I shouldn't have, and once, because I reached out to Focusrite, their tech support, and they got back to me and told me to double check that, and that was the problem. Once I got that straightened out, the 2i2 interface that I use has a direct monitor on it, meaning that it, the sound comes out of the monitors, comes out of my studio monitors before it goes into the before it goes into the CPU for processing. And, then when it comes out, I've actually got that muted. So, now what comes out of the monitors, it's basically reacts the same way that an amplifier would, because it's going from the interface, essentially acting as a power amp, to the speakers. Turn the direct monitor off, though. Well, because I don't have an interface, I can't hear it, but then you get like this echo effect thing that's kind of annoying. The Helix floor has a built-in DAW? Really? That's interesting. So what do you do for, like, does it have a drum machine or something on there as well? It's got a drum machine in it too. I didn't know that. Wow. Well, I guess that technically would be literally an all-in-one. Have you guys seen that meme going around on Facebook where you got this dude playing guitar, except he's playing it through an old, this is like 20 years ago. He's playing it through like a Line 6 pod, And he goes, wow, I can't believe how realistic it is. It sounds just like a real amp. And then right next to it's the exact same guy in the exact same picture playing the same guitar, but now he's playing through a Helix. And he says, wow, I can't believe how realistic it is. It sounds just like playing through a real amp. Oh, man, how our ear changes. That's funny. Trio Plus is cool. I considered one of those for a while, and I tried a few different things regarding regarding drums, virtual drums. That is, I've got the Beat. I got the Beat Buddy. The Beat Buddy's cool. Beat Buddy is a cool practice tool, but for for a full on drum machine, it's pretty limited. For recording anyway. But the Beat Buddy is certainly cool. It's a very cool practice tool, and certainly you do a little bit more than that. I did track a few demo videos where the drums actually came from the Beat Buddy. Let's see, that after that I was using X Drummer. Bias effects or Bias X Drummer on my iPad, and that was definitely a little bit more robust and had a lot more grooves and rhythms, and it's actually pretty loaded. But the problem that I kept running into with that is it's all on an iPad and it's all touch and dragging, and it got a little tedious, to be honest. I mean, it's perfect for on the go type stuff, but sitting down and doing it, it's I wanted to do it that way with a drum software of some kind. I wanted to I wanted to be able to click a mouse, and then eventually I landed into Superior Drummer 3, and that is where that's where I've landed. So, and there's Superior Drummer 3 does way more than I ever expected it to. And way more than I haven't learned how to use it fully yet, but I've gotten to the point that I can do a fair amount with it. So, or at least do what I need to do for my own purposes. So. And it's cool. It's a cool piece of software and pretty easy to use. At least the stuff that I've dove into so far. So, Edgardo Perales says, "Yeah, Robert, that sounds good. I believe you should use that on all your guitar demo sounds. Sounds so nice." I don't know what you're referring to. If you're referring to the Metal Zone, the Wazacraft that I'm using here. Thank you. I agree. I love this pedal, and I think one of the best things that Boss ever did was come out with a Wazacraft version of the Metal Zone. Honestly, I don't know what took them so long to come out with that thing. And Alan Scherer, I don't think is in here hanging out with us today, but if he were, if he happens to catch us on the replay or something, thank you once again, because this pedal actually came from him. He's a viewer and a subscriber to, big supporter of the channel, and he actually sent me that pedal, and which I was very, very touched by, and I've gotten a lot of use out of it so far. But anyway, what I was saying is, if you don't, or if we don't, I don't know why Boss took so long to come out with that thing, because that the entire Boss pedal line. The only pedal that has outsold the Metal Zone in Boss's entire history is the TU2 and the TU3, and I think it's actually a combination of both of those pedals that have outsold the Boss Metal Zone. So given that, I'm especially how much hate the Metal Zone started to get here in the last 5 to 10 years. When Boss came out with the Wazacraft stuff, surely somebody said, I maybe they were hanging on to it just for to make guys like me sweat it out. But I don't know. I'm sure glad they did though. Because it is fantastic. I mean, I've actually been using it. I've been using that more than probably. I mean, it's in my top 5 pedal rotation right now, anyway. So between that one, I use the Amp Tweaker Type Metal Pro a lot. That one, I still love that pedal. The Tone City Model M gets a lot of use, and distortion pedals anyway. I'm talking about, and what's the other the DoD Gunslinger distortion. I like that one quite a bit. So, those are probably my favorites. But the Metal Zone is threatening for first place. Christopher Spearn says, checked out the vid, had to pause too because didn't want to miss the live stream. Well, thank you for coming back and hanging out with us. TBT is with us. Welcome to you. Mike Rekka's here. Says, hello, Robert. I love my Walls of Craft. I use a drum trio on the outside of one of my boards and Superior Drummer on the laptop. Yep. Good stuff. Daniel Durbridge says, hi from the UK. Good afternoon, Daniel. Seeing a couple of new, I'll call you new faces, but new screen names anyway. Here in the live chat, so which I'm actually going to wrap up here in the next few minutes, just because, like I said, I got a lot of work to do with getting this video completed. So fortunately, I got the. I do two videos a week, so I typically record them on Wednesday. I typically shoot and record on Wednesday evening, and then do all my editing Friday night and Saturday afternoon. And unfortunately, I got the other one done already. So that one's done and uploaded and ready to go, but the other one is not even close. So, matter of fact, it's further behind than I normally am. And as I mentioned, I still got to write a solo and come up with a lead something or other and get that recorded. I got to retrack bass, then get that finished up, and then dump all of that into Vegas and edit away. So once I get that far, though, hopefully it shouldn't take me too long. So oh yeah, and then I'm also going on about 4 hours of sleep too. So I'm actually not as tired as I thought I would be when I came out here. About an hour before this thing started, I was kind of trying to figure out how I was gonna have any energy at all, but I seem to have rallied. So, okay, you guys are still helixing. Actually cleans up pretty well. Babe Mozzie says, I love using my hollow body piezo for playing that song. Normally, I prefer to use the piezo on my Music Man for it, but that's not the guitar I have in my hand right now. And I did that just to experiment with how Lost sounds with the volume turned down. Mike Recca, gotta run Robert and Friends. I have a collaboration session this afternoon. Keep on picking. Thanks, Mike. Have a great session. Edgardo Perales says, hi, Robert. What do you think of Buddha amps? Buddha amps are great, man. You know, you don't see them everywhere. You know, they're kind of tough to track down, and you know, there's a lot of people out there that seem to think that you know Buddha got bought out by Peavey, you know, some time ago. So a lot of people seem to think that you know, the pre-Peavey era ones are the ones to own. I don't know. I've never A-B'd them. I don't know what the difference might be. I'm not even sure that they're still... I think Peavey shut them down since then, to be honest. I think they are now defunct. But I could be wrong about that. So, I'm not sure. It just seems like that's... somebody mentioned that recently. I think I heard David mention something like that on the Practical Guitars podcast in the last week or two. But, you know, again, I'm not sure. Alrighty. Cool. Well, it looks like you guys are all hitting the road, and I need to go do the same. So, for those of you that joined us, if this was your first time hanging out with us, I'm glad that you did. This is a fun one. I really do enjoy hanging out with you guys like this on Saturdays. This is a lot of fun for me. But for those of you that did come and hang out today, thank you for joining. Thank you for taking time out of your day. Again, thank you all for the 13 great guitars that you might not know about. The success of that video was very refreshing and very motivating, and kind of gave me that recharge of batteries that I needed. So to those of you that took the time to watch that video and enjoyed it, thank you. So yeah, don't forget, new video will be up tomorrow morning. I don't recall which one it is. Let me look real quick. Fine, yeah. What is tomorrow morning? Is it one that I want to let the cat out of the bag on? Oh yeah. It's a pedal demo. Yeah, tomorrow morning's a pedal demo / shootout. So, and I'm not going to say any more than that because I want it to be somewhat of a surprise. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoy it, and I will see you guys live here this time next week. Gas for the SM1.